On this episode, we bring you a prescription for ska courtesy of those damn bandits. It's hard to make progress when you're halfway between here and there, but only one band has the cure. The Pharmaceutical Bandits. On Checkered Past, the Ska'd cast.
Oh, what the fuck you doing with your life these days? Oh, what the fuck you doing with yourself? Oh, what the fuck you doing with your life these days? Oh, what the fuck you doing with yourself?
What up, Checkerheads? Welcome to Checkered Past, the Ska'd cast with Celine and Rob, the show where halfway between here and Theranos, and Johnson and Johnny Sacco thinks we're sellouts, explore the history and impact of a different band each episode, hope to bring in new fans along the way. I'm Rob, and this is my sister and co-host chomping at the bit to say something, Celine.
I just got it.
Oh, good.
But I mean, well, like, I don't know about, like, yeah, Johnson & Johnson and Elizabeth Holmes.
Right.
Like, that is, I guess, just
Pharma
pharmacy.
company. Yeah. Pharma companies.
Yeah. You look happy with yourself.
seems
Yeah,
like-
he's so happy.
This took, do you know how long I sat at my computer with the name Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman just sitting in front of me?
You really
trying
wanted
to think.
make it
I
work.
really wanted
Yeah.
that one to
Not
work.
Grey's Anatomy.
What would that be?
Grey's Anatomy.
So I'm like, I'm pulling away from just shoving ska into
Shonda
things.
Ska Rhimes.
No,
That
It already has
writer
rhymes in
that's
it.
been canceled from Grey's Anatomy.
Shonda Rhimes.
No,
Okay.
no. There's like a writer. This is a really long thing,
I love
but
this.
I'm gonna
Keep
go
going.
quick.
Yeah.
So there's a writer that like has been exposed for lying about having cancer, and I guess were like a tyrant in the writers' room, and like were just kind of a dick, and they're like a pathological liar. Lied about like their parents being like abusive and dead, and blah 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 blah. And yeah, they were. Shonda toted them around as their prized writer, and now they are canned. But then they came out in a New York Times article like admitting to everything. So yeah, anyways, it's a wild story. And they like married their wife that they married, found out they were like lying about having cancer and like all of their trauma. And they met, that them and their wife met at this like mental health facility with like a bunch of therapy. And then the wife started noticing like things ending up about her life like in Grey's Anatomy. Anyways, wild.
This smacks of that like Steve Renazizi lying
Yeah,
about
totally.
World Trade Center, like the whole thing.
Pathological liars, man.
He-
I do think a lot of writers sometimes, like, because they're good at making up stories, can end up being pathological liars.
And
So fuck every writer.
when I hear that, yeah, that's right. Dead medium.
Yeah.
When I hear whenever I hear their interviews too, like Steve Renazizi, and I've heard from somebody else, they would be like, oh, it started as a thing that I just like
he liked
haphazardly
attention.
said. No, I just haphazardly said, but because I had said it, I couldn't walk it back.
How do you accidentally say like, yeah, I was,
Yeah,
I was there.
I was there. I was at 9/11.
Man, it was dark.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, even like as a kid, if I've done that, you know, because like when you're testing boundaries
Oh,
and stuff.
definitely.
Yeah.
I've
Well, I
definitely
remember.
brought a lie
Well, we
to-
did.
yeah.
Okay, my lies would always have like an element of truth. So we had a lot of hamsters die, right?
Yes.
And then remember when we separated the wrong hamster parent, and then the one hamster ate the babies because we
Yes.
thought the mom was the dad and the dad was the mom.
Sure.
So I just exaggerated. Like, I think I told that story at school, and I was like, yeah, it had like 20 babies and it ate it. So it's like people were like, that didn't happen. But I was like, no, I did see a hamster eat its babies, you know?
Yeah.
But not 20. It was
Mhm.
2 to 3.
I think it was
three
more.
babies.
The hamster also pushed a bunch to their death.
Okay,
You
well,
remember
that
that?
was protected from me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, one of the hamsters, like, they were in the treehouse thing, and they pushed the hamster.
That's dark. Hamster baby.
Hamsters are
Don't
yeah, fuck around. They're
Yeah.
not like yeah.
That's what the thing. Like
Harsh
same with
parents.
that's why I don't do fish tanks. That's some Game of Thrones shit I don't want to be a part of. There's
Mm.
like incest, murder, cannibalism.
circle of life. To reference something that wasn't on the podcast. You know, this is a big preamble. Should we pick it up where we left off? Joey.
Pick it up, where we left off. Pick it up, where we left off.
And there's Engineer. Did we say anything about Engineer?
No,
Joey?
he's just hanging out. Engineer Joey's
Do we
not
have
part
to
of this. And we talked over the song. Who cares? What's going on, Celine?
I'm finished Pokemon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Me
Actually,
too.
I'm just about finished. I did the Pokemon League.
Then
I
you're
finished
not
the
finished.
Titans. Shut up. I finished the Titans. I did all the fucking Team Star battle raids.
Okay, so you
And
just
I
haven't
finished
done the.
Pokemon League. The guy's coming back. Like the Titan guy wants to hear from me, I guess.
Oh yeah, so now you got to do the thing where you go down the circle, and then that's the end of the game.
The circle. Yeah, so I have a pretty good team right now. I'm pretty stoked. I don't think I've ever had, the bird with the witch hat
Yes.
and the evolution.
Yes.
I don't know if I've ever had the evolution to that.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, and then I have Spriggy, which is Weed Cat evolved.
Weed Cat's
who's
great.
fucking crushing it.
Weed Cat's great.
And then Espathra, which is the most beautiful Pokemon I've ever seen.
That's
in
the
whole world.
ostrich with the bob.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's stunning. She has heels. She's beautiful. She can use flash cannon like a bitch. You gotta. It's nice to have a steel on your side. I have Vaporeon, of course.
Yes.
Sylveon's crushing it. Yeah. I'm sad. I don't know where Corviknight is. I have not seen any Corvies. I've battled against Corvies.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
They're in the circle.
They're in the circle.
Yeah. At least they did in mine. Oh, but it could be a genre. I don't remember. I caught them all.
Violet. I'm on Violet. You did.
Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. I did. Okay, how many Gimme Ghoul coins are you supposed to get?
1,999.
Okay, but like I feel like I have 300. I feel like that's so many.
That's not 99.
That sound will drive me crazy. The ow. The Gimme Ghoul sound.
I played with the sound off. I don't know.
Okay, it does this. It goes ow. And then if you can't see it, it drives you mad because you're like, I hear the Gimme Ghoul, but where the fuck is the Gimme Ghoul? Yeah. Anyways.
Good.
All the Pokemon leaders, the leaders of the gym look really cool.
I like the normal guy.
I know you do.
I relate to him.
Yeah. Larry?
Yeah, Larry. He's great.
I like Iono. That was the electric
Oh, she's
gym
the-
leader.
she's
with
the-
the
she's got, like, the
influencer
stream.
chick.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's so cute.
That's-
That's
that
it. That's a big deal. I'm starting a microdosing journey.
Okay.
Mushrooms, psilocybin.
Oh, that's
I'm doing a little bit
okay.
less.
Yeah.
My mycology
Man,
journey.
back to mycology.
I'm obsessed with mushrooms.
God damn, we have to leave that in now.
Okay, anyone else reach out if you're on the mycology Reddit page and if you know about r/saddest of boys, and when you get a saddest of boys called, you will know all about slime mold. Slime mold and mushrooms are not the same thing. That's it. Work's going good. Gonna meet with a commercial real estate lawyer, expand the biz.
I love it.
You?
The only video game, like, because you're talking about video games, and I don't think I talked about this on the podcast, but I played
Talking about
Elden Ring
mushrooms.
for about a week and I hate it. Like,
Oh yeah,
full-blown
you don't.
hate it.
Then that's like everyone's like favorite game
Yeah, it's like
ever.
game of the year. I don't like it. I find it boring. I find it tedious.
I don't like games that I have to do something over and over and over and
That part I don't mind
That's
because
not-
I'm like the biggest Cuphead fan and I love
Yeah, I
Cuphead. But this
can't.
is just like, I don't know. So
Yeah.
slow. You're just like wandering aimlessly around.
Is it
I
pretty?
don't like it. No, it's pretty dark.
But okay.
Yeah. I guess
What
it's-
else should I play now once I'm done Pokemon?
On,
People
like,
reach
this-
out.
on the
That's like
Switch?
a
Yeah.
fun kid game that I can check out and I don't have to try that hard.
That's like the new Kirby. There's a new
Okay. Yeah.
Kirby.
You know what? Yeah.
That would be probably
Yeah.
pretty easy. It's meant for
Okay.
kids. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
There
You
you
know
go.
what? I might get the new Kirby game.
There you go.
'Kay.
Well, I think we've just been BSing long enough.
And that's Checkered Past the Skodcast. It's been nice talking to you all and have a good Ska'd day.
That was a good-
Do-do-do.
That was a good Celine. We are absolutely thrilled to introduce our guest. He is the founder of PayPal, engineer of SpaceX, and current CEO of Twitter. Oh, that was for a different guest. Well, this guy's like a record label or something, and one time hosted this podcast. Chris Reeves is here.
Hey, pew, pew, pew.
Hi, Chris.
I'm
Hey,
here. I just appeared. I didn't hear any of the stuff before.
No.
Do you have
definitely-
thoughts on Pokemon or mushrooms?
I don't have any more thoughts on that. I can't even remember what we said before we started recording on that. But I'm playing Pokemon too, but I've only just started. I got it for Christmas
Ooh.
from my sister. And I'm only like, I don't know, 5 or so hours in, maybe less. Like I've done the first gym, like the well, you can go in any order, but the one where she's
You
like a
can't go in any order,
Yeah, you can't
okay?
go in
Because
any
I
order.
did that, and do not
You get-
listen to the Poke Centers
you
about
get
where to
fucked,
go
yeah.
because they're
Well,
liars.
I was afraid. I did the one that said like this is recommend first. Where
That's what I would use your like normal instincts. It still follows like the same order of like type, like ice and like psychic and dark are like towards the end, and you want to get like grass and like bug and water and normal.
Bug.
Bug? Is there a bug gym?
Oh yeah, there is.
There's
yeah.
a bug.
Bug gym is just like a.
Did you just
steamroller.
all see the gaslighting? This is my life.
yeah, I don't know why
everyone.
you're like that. Bug type are awesome.
Yeah,
Oh my
bug type
God.
are-
No, I'm
except not
anti-bug
really, because
type.
I'm like, there's so few Pokemon that have weaknesses to bug. It's so specific. When you do, it's nice, but it's a very like uncommon weakness for
Yeah,
a
but
type
there's
to
those
have.
those ones that have like other type, like the
You always dual type.
oh
gotta.
fuck, I'm forgetting the name of the one from it was like bug and electric, and it was like a bus. Charge a bug or something?
No,
Oh, yeah.
Chargerbug. He's cute.
It's electric, and bug, right?
Yeah.
Charge a bug rips. And then there's another one that's like bug and like psychic or something, right? I don't know. Whatever.
It's
I'm
okay.
not
What
that
was-
big of a bug person. I don't know why I'm sitting here doing that.
A
But there
lot
are
of
some
the
good ones.
evolution. Well, I had like
What's your-
Tomo forever.
What
like,
was your starter?
Yeah, what was your starter?
The fire crocodile.
He is
Fleeko?
fucking badass in his final evolution. He looks so
he's
cool.
fire ghost at the end. So,
yeah, he's a
that's
baddie.
great.
Yeah,
He's cool as hell.
I definitely looked up to see, and I'm a huge fan of ghosts, so I was like, okay, that's
The
an
stupid
easy
water
choice.
duck's final evolution is like the worst thing I've ever seen in my
I was
entire
water
life.
duck.
I've never.
I always pick water.
I am an
always.
ally, and I do not consider myself a completely straight woman. But like, I've never wanted to use the F slur before seeing that water duck do that little dance.
No.
I've-
Oh no.
Chris is-
Oh no.
Google it.
I've
You won't
seen
like
it.
who you
Oh
become
no.
too.
Usually
You
I just
won't-
pick on instinct, but in this one I definitely like looked up ahead because they were all like in their beginning evolution or starter form. It's like, wow, these are all incredible. So I had to look it up, and I can't handle that.
No. Ever since Incineroar, I've learned that you cannot just go by gut instinct because I like gave up the game for like 2 weeks because I was so mad about that rum tum tugger looking ass motherfucker. No one asked for a weird, sexy man cat.
Incineroar is good in Smash, though.
Is he? You can get Incineroar in Smash.
Yeah, it's
That's
awesome.
such a troll move.
You do all
That's
these
pretty
cool
funny.
wrestling moves. It's awesome.
God, that's just like sometimes I'm like, hey, Pokemon, like I understand the furry community is alive and strong and well, and I like do not judge, but like sometimes I'm like, you are pandering. Pandering. I'm not gonna yuck anyone's yum, but that's pandering.
Can we talk about Ska?
No. Yeah, sure.
Chris, you have
What?
an awesome label, Ska Punk International. I didn't say it at the top because it's too busy being funny.
I think you did, but yeah, that's me.
Yeah. So let's talk about 2022. What were the highs and lows for you last year for yourself, the label, everything?
That's a lot. I didn't know I had to think about that. An easy high is the Gruber's record because it's clearly done better than any of the stuff we've done so far. Like I think by the time this comes out, that album will have hit 100,000 streams on Spotify, which is a lot for us.
Right.
And like they've sold by this time probably 800 or maybe even 850 like physical copies, like record CDs, tapes. Like we've sold like a lot. I've shipped out a lot of that record. So I mean that's an easy high.
Is there a reason for that? Do you think? Like why did it do so much better? Or what was the thing that made it just shoot up?
You know, I wish I knew because then they'd all do that. Like it's not to say that like any of the other releases haven't done well. It's just like that one is clearly like it just keeps selling. Like
Sometimes
most-
there's just like an it factor that you can't really put your finger on, and people just like respond to something. I just think that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, there are some things like I can guess. Like,
Yeah.
like they've been a band for a while. They already had a
Right.
following in a
Right.
lot of places. They have some really devoted hardcore fans.
They play a lot though too. I think that's a big
Yeah.
part. I think like how many live shows they play, and same with like, yeah, they're just out there. I think that's a big
Yeah.
part of it.
That's something that, like, maybe when we do one of these, I don't know, later in the year or next year or something, I will be interested to look back on, because I don't care if bands on the label play much or at all. As evidenced by like the last release from Yours Sincerely, like there's probably maybe never, at least for a long time, going to be Yours Sincerely shows. But it seems to be that it helps. But I don't know, like some of the releases coming that I can't talk about yet are bands that will play a lot too, like the
Right.
Groovers do, and then some don't. So let's see, because a big thing from 2022, like beginning to end, is that like a lot of stuff, like I figured out how to get a lot more stuff done, have a lot more processes in place to make sure like stuff stays on track. And some of that is because of things like the Groovers are like doing better. So like I have more stuff to spend. Like I could afford better shipping materials and things like that. And like, but I mean, maybe Patreon can see like I got shit all over the place that I got to like ship out, and inventory. I got to do like stuff like that. That was not how it was at the beginning of the year. So like clearly like the year has just been like pretty good for us. Of course you want more or whatever. Definitely not to the level of Bad Time or any of the other DIY labels that I like to pattern after, but like doing great. No complaints really.
Hey, yeah, we get it. We're not in defensive ska. But we're doing good
Yeah.
and better
Yeah.
than last year. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And we've learned and we've grown. And the money is not the same. There's none of that, but
I
but our
don't
hearts
know.
are there.
I don't know. It might be pretty close.
Ska-bucks.
Yeah.
It's all about breaking even.
Yeah.
If
I
can
feel
help
like
it.
you've become a well-oiled machine.
Well, thanks. I don't think so, but more than I was at the beginning of
I
2022.
think you've become an oiled machine.
Yeah, I'm definitely got some oil in there.
Oil, yeah.
Like there's definitely lots more that I can do better, and you just
You
keep
look oily, No.
Yeah.
No.
I definitely look oily, and I have like different kinds of stress now. You know what I mean? Like where it's like this thing is in production over here, and it's not coming on time, and this thing isn't over here. Versus like,
Ooh,
wow, I wish-
pipeline.
yeah, like
Yeah.
logistical stuff. Versus it used to be like, oh, I wish I could get people to listen. Now that's definitely less of a problem. Like
Sweet.
but
But
yours
it is-
sincerely, I didn't even like plan much of a anything. It was just like, hey, let's surprise do it and see what happens. That'll be fun. And it's been really, really good, which is insane. Like it's truly nuts. So I don't know.
Yeah,
It's been a
it's
really good year
Our
overall.
big city of Canada has lots of talent.
It's true.
Canada City.
Canada City, yeah. What was like the biggest pitfall or learning lesson from last year?
I would say there's two things. Probably the biggest one is you can't rely on like one thing. Like I can't rely only on Twitter as much as I personally like using Twitter. I feel comfortable on Twitter. It's the easiest place where like I think it's important for the brand for me to kind of like be myself, the way I'm like posting and talking about music and the artists and whatever, which includes a lot of shit posts and and that doesn't work on all the other platforms.
Right.
And it's actually like really hard to do on other platforms.
Shit posting seems very mean on Instagram.
Right.
Well, yeah, because you have to post a picture. What do you do? Like
Yeah.
You
circle
slam someone?
You circle somebody's
Right.
acne, and you're just like yeah.
Sarcasm
Yeah, right.
doesn't like translate. Cheekiness and
Yeah.
sarcasm doesn't really translate on Instagram. Whereas,
Yeah.
but I mean, that being said, I feel like Twitter has gotten insane lately where like someone will make such an obvious joke and then 80% of the comments are people taking it seriously.
Yeah,
Anyways.
for sure. But despite the
Anyway.
fact that I like it that much, like it's changed a lot recently because of other people, and so I like I already had a lot of things in place to not only do Twitter, but I was really focusing on it a lot. Like I was for a release, for example, I would be like, okay, great, I'm going to schedule the time that a tweet goes out. I'm going to make sure it looks good on there. And then I'll get to everything else when I feel like it later in the day, because Twitter is going to do the most of the stuff for me anyway. And now that can't be the case. Like Twitter is supportive, but it's not like before because the algorithm is completely blown up. It's not how it used to be. So I have to spend way more time on other things and diversifying across to make sure that stuff will get heard. You know, like my main job is to make sure stuff gets heard. So I guess I would say that I just sort of am like, well, I got to do this like everywhere, like all the place. Like to answer your question earlier, I actually think Tumblr is doing better for us,
What?
for us than anything. Yeah. Like
It's back to Tumblr. People are going back to Tumblr.
yeah. Like, Christine, who's helping as an intern now, has sort of like helped show me some Tumblr stuff because I hadn't used it
Damn.
since I don't know 2008 or 9 or whoever, like a long time ago. But I think the initial time when Voldemort took over, I went and joined Tumblr, and like one post just like, hey, we're here, whatever, added some random hashtags, and then got like, I don't know, 400 or 500 followers like that.
I'm gonna go on Tumblr. I look like a Tumblr person, but I'm like, I've never gone down the Tumblr path.
Yeah, I don't know, like, but then that's why I started asking Christine, because I would post some stuff and it would get like 0, like nothing would happen. And I don't really like sit and think about that stuff very much. I have way more stuff to deal with, like shipping orders and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, it is obvious like when something is working and not, because you keep seeing the notices because especially in Tumblr, like I keep forgetting to turn off the notifications. So you'll get like so many emails of like, okay, well that post is working. But some were not, and it feels like the same thing. Like, oh, I posted a link to a song and said like, hey, this is cool, versus the other one, and that one worked. I don't know. So Christine is sort of like showing me that stuff, but I think Tumblr is working, so I like that more. But I have accepted that I just need to goof around more on TikTok. Because like early on when it started to work for me, that's what I was doing. Even though they keep changing how shit works on there, I was just having fun. So if I'm not really a resolution person, but in 2023, the closest thing I have to a resolution is just like have more fun with all this stuff.
Right. I did learn the berries and cream dance yesterday.
You should do that for the.
I was like, it's apparently like so long ago, and like, and somebody's like, "Do you know?" And I was like, "What? This is so funny." Have you seen the berries and cream?
I have, but you
So
should do it for the podcast.
Okay.
We like that. Our TikTok.
It's a
has-
really good little dance. I picked up on it right away. It's like basically all my dance moves every day. Berries and cream. Berries and cream. And it's berries and cream. That's very good.
Very visual.
Well, it was in reference to hair. It was at work, and someone's like, "Yeah, like I had a berries and cream haircut." I'm like, "Oh, is this like a new hot like TikTok thing, like a berries and cream?" And I was like, "Oh no, this is insane." And then I was mad at everyone for not showing it to me earlier. I was like, "This is literally my sense of humor, and you all know it. And why am I just seeing this now?" Anyways, berries and cream. Watch out for SPI Checkered Past berries and cream collab.
That collab.
You can
coming
do a
soon.
reaction video to my dance.
Yeah, I'll do a duet, and I'll try to do it.
Yeah, totally. It's happening.
I
Yeah.
have no clue how to use TikTok. Like
You tried. It was
I did,
good.
like,
You
5.
were hot for a minute.
just because of the mac and cheese thing.
Yeah.
Like, is that what I need to do?
Imagine
more?
if you
Like,
did
mac and
just
cheese?
do dumb like eat gross stuff
Have
and
you-
then just have like moments of the pod like
Yeah.
playing.
This is what
Yeah.
our podcast is like. Me eating gross food.
yeah.
Yeah. I just
My
realized
friends
I
like
said there was 2 things I learned, and I never said the second one.
Oh,
Can I
what is-
say
Oh.
the second one?
Yes. You
Yeah.
can.
Scott too.
Okay, yeah, Scott too. Hear me out. 2 things. The other one is like physical formats, not just vinyl, take for fucking ever, and that's not going to change. Like it's just not going to change. At the beginning of 2022, I was able to get. I had some issues with like some of the early tapes, like Precure album. Like Some of the ways I was doing shipping was like not great. I've sorted that all now because I've shipped so many orders in 2022. But the production time of the tapes, once I shifted to like a more professional outfit, would be maybe 2 months, 6 weeks to 2 months. Now it's like 4 because so many people are ordering tapes, and the vinyl thing is not shortening. Like, yeah, I got some records done this year, but that's because I paid way too much to get them done with like a quick turn company, which those have popped up now. So instead of like, it's cost like maybe $6 to $7 more per unit for me to get them done than some of these other labels.
That's a lot. That's huge.
Yeah. So
and that just comes out on your price point. And you know, I don't know if that's always what you want to do is make a more expensive record.
$1 per record.
Yeah, it should, but that's why like the vinyl I've done so far, I'm having to sell more than someone like Bad Time because I'm paying more to get it done.
So to break even, you have to sell.
Yeah, but I can't afford to sit on like $1,600, $2,000 for 6 months. I can't do that yet.
Yeah.
So I have to do that quick turn, but there's like no end in sight that like things are gonna shorten to like the before time. It's just not gonna happen. So that's what I've learned. Like, I think if I'm gonna keep doing this shit, I gotta accept that this is just how it is. So
and
is that Ray?
It is. That's Ray.
Oh, little
She's
baby.
in the window right there.
Go get it, Ray. Go get it. Go get it. Go protect it.
Somebody's outside the window.
How dare they?
Hey, Boogie.
What do they think? They can walk by your house
Yeah,
and live their life?
Called your dog and your cat came over.
No, that's actually Kylo.
Oh, okay.
The bigger dog.
Oh, bigger dog.
The cat's in the other room. Yeah, Kylo never makes it in your Discord.
No,
that's exciting to your crew, I think.
We like Kylo, but we are
Arianne?
little dog people. Yeah, I do love me and Arianne love Ray.
Yeah,
Ray's a little baby. Yeah,
Ray is being a jerk right now and completely ruined the flow of what we were doing. Ray, hey.
Ray has like no interest. Is like no, I'm busy.
She is such Chihuahua with like territory and protecting.
Yeah, go get it, Ray. Go get it.
I think we're good. I think we're good. I think the flow of that was ruined, though.
Well, it's as good a time as any to move into my next part of the show. Let's instead of going back to Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra or Ska P, which were the last 2 episodes you're on, we decided to do something different again, and we're going to talk about RX Bandits. So tell me, why did you choose this band to talk about today?
Well, the real reason is because you told me to do something different. But I really, really, really like RX Bandits, but I also really, really don't like RX Bandits. I think they're an extremely like important and influential band, and they even are kind of like underrated in terms of like talking about like the type of bands from maybe like the 90s and early 2000s that are influential on what's happening now. But they have some stuff that is really not good. and they also have a good sense of humor about it. Like, they know that they've grown and they're different and but they don't hide it. They aren't like some bands where they just took it off the internet or something. So I felt like it was a good one for us to talk about because I definitely have things to say. I've seen them a bunch of times. I know some of them a little bit. And yeah, I think we'll have a good discussion about it because I think there's a lot there.
There's lots of juice in there.
There's a lot of juice
in the juice box,
as
they say, as everyone says.
It is true. Like, so, I mean, we'll talk about it more, but you can go on Spotify and listen to every single one of their albums completely.
Right.
Like, there's nothing that is not available. And I encourage anybody, if you haven't listened to RX Bandits after this episode, you should listen to the rest of their discography because their evolution from album 1 to album 7 is pretty substantial. So pretty wild.
When I first got into them, the first song I ever heard was Sell You Beautiful.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
When's that in their timeline?
That's right smack dab in the middle.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, right
that was my first.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with that song. And
unfortunately,
It's
the album
Stars
that
in My
that's
Eyes
on
is not.
is
We're not
not-
talking.
it's not
I
getting
know.
talked
I know
about
that,
today.
but I was
Yeah.
curious when
'Cause
that
there's a-
was. I
I
thought it was
needed-
earlier.
I need a delineation point with that band's
Yeah.
history, and that's where we cut off.
Okay.
But
Just
I'm going to
curious.
save my rankings because I I remember on Twitter we talked about RX Bandits at one point, and we people had very strong opinions about them and their discography, and apparently I'm in the minority.
Okay.
I was told this. So I think this will be an interesting conversation because usually the guest has to come on and convince us about the band that they're talking about, but this is almost backwards.
Yeah, I think the pitch you said to me was you'll be positive and I'll be negative, and then it probably switches at some point. We're both, I think, a little in the dark on when that's going to happen, but I found that to be extremely interesting. I think it's going to be super funny.
All right, this is going to be good. So let's do it. Let's take the time, Ska Sheen. Let's take the time, Ska Sheen, back to 1995 to explore the checkered past of the RX Bandits. So I was able to cull a bunch of things off of the internet from my usual sources of Last.fm and Discogs, Wikipedia, also some Vice articles and an Angel Fire interview with one of the horn players from 2001. That
Angel
was
Fire.
wonderful. Yeah, it was great. So Time Ska Sheen takes us back to 1995 to some place called Seal Beach in the OC in California. Here, the third wave revival is at a fever pitch and is one of the epicenters in the U.S. The ghosts of the Scholars, Suburban Rhythm, Skank and Pickle, and Fishbone loom large as crowds become bigger, tours become longer, and hell, songs are getting on the radio. Bands such as Save Ferris, No Doubt, and Real Big Fish are breaking these barriers, and a slurry of imitators, hangers-on, and mimics are proliferating the scene. Enter one of those bands, the Pharmaceutical Bandits, consisting of guitarist Matt Embry, drummer Chris, I'm not going to do his name right, Sagakis, bassist Franz Worth, and two saxophones, Neil Burdick and Noah Gaffney. The band tore right to the top of their scene. Well, no, more like the middle. They carved out a niche with their high-speed rhythms, twin sax attack, and dual vocals by Matt and Neil, who pretty much exclusively sang songs about high school girls. Write what you know. Here is what Rich said about this time. Our band started covering Real Big Fish, so Real Big Fish was already going somewhere. By the time we reached our peak, where we were through puberty and knew where we were going in life, ska was long dead. So within a year, the band was ready for their first release, and since it was the easiest way to get their music out, they did it DIY on their own Antidote Records. Their debut self-titled cassette dropped in 1996, and with the California ska scene so fertile, it sold like hotcakes. So much so that they wanted to get right back in the studio to re-record and firm up their songs for a proper CD debut. I believe they were 17 at this time. To help out, they recruited a bunch of local friends, including Jimmy the Robot of the Aquabats and Chris Collinger of Jeffrey's Fan Club on trombone. In fact, most of Jeffrey's Fan Club provides gang vocals on this. Those Damn Bandits was released independently on Antidote right in the summer of ska in 1997. So we're going to start talking about their actual full-blown debut, and let's listen to Teen Idol, and then we'll get talking about it.
Such babies, little babies.
Little babies.
This song sucks so much.
This song isn't good. This one
song-
is. I did enjoy this album.
They do, yeah.
Of all, and I am
That's-
the one who shits on third wave ska the most, but this is actually the third wave ska I like, not the song. But a lot of the other songs are like the third wave ska that's like maybe just nostalgia because it's the type of ska I got into first. But
This song
this is not
brutal.
good. This
This
isn't
has
great.
like one of the worst bridges in the history of ska.
Oh,
I-
their bridges on this album are bananas.
Terrible.
I don't
They're
know what
terribly. They're bananas bad.
Yeah.
This song
So-
is brutal. I hate
Anyway,
that song.
that song was very famous on LimeWire.
It was
So do you-
LimeWire was
comps
the big
too, wasn't
thing?
it?
Say that again.
Wasn't it on a bunch of comps too?
I think so. Oh yeah, it might have been on that OC Ska versus Punk compilation. I know they had a song on there.
I don't
And that-
remember that, but what I remember is I saw them a few times during this era, and that was like the big song that they would like close with, and everyone would go crazy. So I feel like it was on some other stuff outside of that, probably because like we in Texas we didn't get that OC comp,
Oh yeah,
but I can't remember.
and this album, for what I remember, it was super out of print for a long time, and it was like I remember when people were like trading CDs online, and this was like early Amazon or pre-Amazon days. It was like the thing to find was if you can somehow get a copy of Those Damn Bandits. It was like, oh, that's like a treasure. And now it's on Spotify, so you can just listen to it. It's not that big a deal anymore. I remember my pirated copy that I downloaded and listened to a lot. I listened to this album quite a bit.
Yeah, this is a big one.
I wouldn't say the biggest one.
Yeah, I feel like I heard it secondhand a lot through being near you.
So when I was first thinking about doing this episode, I thought, yeah, I'll be coming to Those Damn Bandits' defense quite a bit.
I was more surprised. It's not amazing. It's rough. It's like rough production.
It's pretty rough.
But like I like rough production.
What I like, the horns. The horns are awesome.
No, the horns are not good. No.
Oh, this is sax work all over. I love it. Yeah. No.
I don't like anything on this album. I don't like anything.
Whoa, not one song.
The production is the least problematic thing on this record. The production
is
fine.
The album that has no, it doesn't have Secret Agent Man.
Yes, it does.
It does.
Yes,
I like that song. That's a good song.
S.A.M. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Okay, then why don't you just go listen to the Toasters? Every song on this it's like, oh, okay, this is this band. Oh, this is that band. Oh, this is that.
Oh, 100%.
Why don't you go listen to whoever did Secret Agent Man?
The Toasters did a cover of that.
Well, but the original.
Oh, I don't know. It was a one-hit wonder, wasn't it?
I'm giving you a number and a take away your name. That's a good song.
It is.
Man
I like that better.
who lives a life of danger. To everyone he meets,
Johnny Rivers.
Stranger.
Johnny Rivers. Thank you, Joey.
Another chance
Now
he
go.
takes. God knows he won't live to see tomorrow. Secret.
RX
That's a good
Bandits.
song.
At the end of the album, they all do a cappella covers of the Scholars. I think they do it for a good 15 minutes.
Too long. That was too long.
And
Was
there's
that
the Sublime
exclamation point
cover too.
Oh, and they threw a
yes.
cover of Saw Red in the middle of it, which does not surprise me. I think knowing the band's trajectory and some of the songs that Matt would write sort of in the middle, I feel like Sublime is a big influence on them.
I mean, it's obvious. But it's less obvious on this record. Like
this is a sequel to the Scholars. Like that's a lot. The big high school girl. I'm in a band. Why don't I get chicks? Like that whole, like I don't know, ethos. It really goes through this whole album. Lyrically, this album sucks. Really not good lyrics.
Awful.
Yeah. Borderline problematic at points.
I don't know about borderline.
Yeah, there's the word whore. If we're going back to like angsty lyrical content, I was thinking like we just need to like just don't, for everyone nowadays that I'm hoping that you wouldn't, just don't call women whores in your songs.
Whore and slut are
Whore and slut. Slut, if you're saying it a positive way, like if you're like, I love that slut,
I
that's
think
fun.
Straight white dudes just throwing slut around though. I don't know if that's
It's not great. It's not great.
No, it's bad.
So yeah, the whore specifically is a tough one. I'll give them a little bit of a pass because they're using the same lyrics as like mid to late 20s, early 30s Real Big Fish, and they're 17, but
I don't know. I don't know if you have to give them a pass.
I won't. I'm just saying.
We should play the song that has that word in it. So that's the third one there, Joey. Band-Aid.
Well, Teen Idol has it too.
Two-tone is kind of good. T-O-O tone, and that's clever.
Oh, I have it there too. We can listen to that after.
Yeah.
But
it's not. It's like, oh, we're two-tone, but we just sound like basic ass two-tone. It's bad. It's bad. It's not good.
They don't have that unique twist like Smash Mouth.
I would rather listen to the Why Can't We Friends cover
Who
15
wouldn't?
times than this
Who
full album.
wouldn't? Than most songs that exist.
The biggest problem is that Matt is like not really like figuring out what his voice is.
No, he's said that the thing he hates the most about this album is his voice.
Yeah.
I also the second vocal, because they do two vocals on this album, and one of the sax players I think is a singer, and don't like his voice all that much.
Yeah, and then they also have those femme vocals on Valentine's, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they have like dozens of helpers on this one. It's like full of cameos.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Band-Aid for My Soul is not a good lyric, but I do like that song. I like Band-Aid.
Song sucks.
It's fun.
That one's a little
Song's
boring, but I didn't
brutal.
hate
It's
it.
fast. I like it.
It is fast.
It's very fast.
So all you
I like
need is a
fast,
fast tempo. That's it.
I mean, it does a lot of heavy lifting.
The songs that you've played are not helping this argument.
We should play Two Tone.
Yeah.
The one that you like.
I took notes on most of the songs, especially this one because I wanted to be prepared. What I wrote for this song, dumb and boring.
Whoa. Okay, so
Like, so extensive notes.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Many of them are like the song Milk. I wrote sucks.
I love Milk. I love that song. That's on the
I
side.
love Milk, the drink.
song-
I love the
The
song.
song More, I wrote blah.
This is fun.
Yeah.
This
The
is
horns are
catchy.
fun.
This is a banger.
No,
This is a
I've heard
banger.
this song like 50,000 times.
So when you were watching them live, were you like mad?
No, because I was 17 also.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Like,
This is fun. Like,
Yeah.
especially for a couple
I-
of teens.
at the time, I didn't like love this album, but I was fine with it. Like, I was 17. It was 97. Like, or like 98, 99. Sorry, I was 17 in 99. But I was basically the same age. Like, I wasn't like, oh, this is bad songwriting and this is da-da-da. I was just like, okay, this is fine. They were fun live, like, whatever. But
I like that song.
as we'll get to, like, they get better and better and
I think it's
better.
catchy.
And so when you like go backwards, it's like, well, this sucks.
So
And
I
it's
was going to ask that. Yeah. Like, is it that, and this is not to be too confrontational, but is it because like their newer stuff sounds so much different that it colors the opinion of
That's
their
my
early stuff?
opinion.
Yeah.
That's my
So-
opinion.
So I mean, like, it's hard. I'm not going to pretend that that's not going to be part of it, but for me, like, just generic, basic kind of like third wavy stuff is just a complete turn off for me now. Like,
Yeah, I feel
it's,
that.
it's so prevalent, and I get sent so much of it that I just don't like it. I don't want to hear it anymore.
If
And
this
so-
came out in 2023, I'd be mad.
yeah,
but
right.
It's
This-
1997, so I am giving them the grace of being 17 and it coming out in 97.
Yeah, yeah, and I completely get that.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna tell me listen to this record and I'm going to listen to it for this, I'm not gonna enjoy it. It's not good. I don't like it.
That's fair. Yeah.
If these guys came to you and were like, Chris, can you put this on your label?
Yeah,
You'd
I
say,
would politely
no.
pass. Sorry, this is not my sound. I'm sorry. Keep trying.
Keep trying. Come back to me when you're a progressive rock band.
Yeah, you don't have to do that, but at least come back to me when you put something that's better. The thing is,
We
though, like, as
do
evidenced
better.
by this band, and we'll talk about it later, but bands can evolve, and they should be allowed to evolve. And
yes,
so
and change.
I'm
and
never
grow.
like, no, you suck. I'm like, nah, but when you have other stuff, send it to me then, because you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they change quite. Like I guess that's the thing with RX Bandits versus like a lot of other bands that are maybe more like if we think of Real Big Fish like as a comparable, any change that they've made over their course of their career is pretty surface level. I'd say for the most part, like Candy Coated Fury sounds an awful lot like Turn the Radio Off. Like they didn't really whatever weird little ups and downs they made in between there. In the end, they were kind of playing the same basic music. Whereas this is a stark change, even between this album and the next one. I'd say there's every
Some of it.
incremental. Yeah, well, and we'll talk about why that would be, why some does and some doesn't.
Yeah.
But it is like more exponential growth than incremental growth, I would say, on their part. But overall, I'd say coming back to those damn bandits, having not listened to it in probably 5 or 6 years, didn't grab. Like, I'd say about half the songs I was like Band-Aid and Milk and Two Tone, I was like, oh yeah, I like these songs. But then the other half I was like, well, I don't like these nearly as much as I thought I did. And the whole last 15 minutes was pretty cringe.
Yeah.
I don't love people just recording themselves in the studio, just like chit-chatting and fucking around. Like, I don't know why that's something that people think is like endearing.
It was like I kind of was like, it's just of the time that was just like happening. Yeah, CDs, and like I think they thought it was like fun to have a bonus track, and like listening to it on streaming, I think doesn't hold up at all. But like I do
Sure.
think those tracks played better when you just pop your CD in your CD player.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're like, okay.
And they probably didn't think they were going to do much more beyond like tour up and down the California coast
Yeah.
with like their friends, right?
Totally.
Like, I don't think they thought more than that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, they do secret tracks on most of the records, and it's really weird to hear how those work on streaming. It just doesn't. Like, it shows like the album length is like crazy long, but in reality, there's like 8 to 10 blank minutes before whatever thing is at the end on basically all their albums. And I still think this album was way too long. Some of these songs are like 4 or 5 minutes long, but it shows that it's like a 40 something minute album, and really it's probably 30 something, which
Yeah,
it's
it gets in and out. I also think it's funny
I
that they have a
did-
song called Milk, and Jeffrey's fan club is like half the band, and Jeffrey's fan club also has a song called Milk.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, I will say it was like so nice, and like artists need to hear this. They need to hear this hard. Just don't fucking make your albums too fucking long. If you have that many songs, save it for the next album. It's just not fun to listen to. It dulls your good songs, and your songs that don't hold up to like your bangers. It makes them sound even worse. You dilute your entire album and you ruin it by putting too many songs. Drop your ego. No one cares. Just fucking keep it under 15. Keep it under 15. God, like ideally under 13. But honestly, about 10 tracks in, I'm like, I'm good.
Tracks, not minutes.
No. Oh, well, also minutes. Well, it depends. You could like, I'm a Mars Volta person, so that's like
Yeah,
where I
so-
love Francis the Mute. Depends what kind of, if you're fucking third wave ska band, keep it under 3 minutes. Keep it under 13 songs. Nobody wants to hear it. You have nothing else to say. Unless you're doing
Whoa.
a crazy like
Concept
two-tone instrumental groove down. Like, other than that, like nobody needs to fucking hear it for that fucking long. So thank
Yeah.
God that they did that on this album. And
Sort
honestly,
of.
that was like probably why I enjoyed it. I was like, thank fucking God. Like, nobody needs 20 fucking third wave songs. Jesus. Whew.
Yeah, but a couple of the songs themselves are too long, I think.
Still thought it was too long.
But I'm going to abstain from the rest of the stuff you said, because I have put out a thing with really long songs, and later this year a thing with a lot of really long songs is coming, so I'm staying out of that. I think
I
it's
said really,
situational.
hey, tracks. I'm more opinionated about tracks.
How do you feel about skits?
Don't like them.
Yeah,
Even on
There's
hip-hop.
not one I can think of.
Oh, especially on
especially
hip-hop.
on hip hop.
I'm hitting the skip button
That's
so fast.
immediately
I
where I
don't need to
went.
know what
No.
Bun B is saying. Like, I don't give a shit.
I think the first time I hear a record, if it's got skits, I'm in. Then after that, I skip it.
If it's not like Sir Mix-a, if it's not like Becky, I don't want to hear it. That's the only skit that works. If it
Also-
doesn't have dun 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 dun
That's an
dun dun.
intro.
Yeah, but it's a light skit, a light intro
A light
skit.
skit. Did you
Also,
think that the... Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, my joke's not worth it. Go.
Friend of the pod, Eichlers, made me a skit, so I think I have to say I like skits.
Well, if it's Eichler's doing it, I could change my mind.
That sounds right up his alley, actually. If his next record
I like that I'm
doesn't
saying
have a
I don't
bunch of
like skits, and then like both of our podcast, like we've had so many skits and bits, and like it's all skits. It's just skits, bad skits.
We just said how we're gonna do
more skits. Yeah, we're like people love them, but people
Yeah.
are coming to us for skits.
All right, Chris, what you said you have notes. Let's hear your last treatise on those damn bandits before we take a break.
I've, let's see. I don't know. Like, do you want me to? Like, I said a lot of them. Like, I will live.
Okay.
I will live. Boring ass third wave. SAM. Secret Agent Man has way too many solos.
Pretty good.
Like, there's like 6 solos in that damn song. Like, you could
I know,
have had
that's
one.
awesome.
It's fine.
No, it's not awesome. You could have had one. Even the Toasters don't do that. Why? And I don't care. Did they have to harmonize the word sex? It's so annoying.
Yeah, that song sucks.
I said the Teen Idol Bridge is terrible, but are you ready for some football? Like, get out of here. Like, it's insane that is the bridge that Matt wrote and then later would write some of the best bridges I've ever heard in my life.
He'd had to, he was 17.
I know, but like, not everybody does that. That's why this is like, to me, such an insane, interesting band to talk about, because they sucked, and then then they turn into this like incredible, insane band. Like, specifically Matt. Like, Matt is the primary songwriter until Steve Choi joins. Like, it's crazy that Matt wrote this, and then even some of the stuff on the next record. It's crazy. It makes
Hey,
no
my
sense.
first haircut wasn't good.
Of course, but not
You know
everybody
what I'm
gets
saying?
better. Not everybody does that.
That's
It's
true.
rare.
Not everyone improves. Sometimes they keep doing bad haircuts, and sometimes they keep writing
Like-
bad songs.
They are
That's the poll
Good
quote.
point.
That's the poll quote.
They are the best example of why not everyone has to keep playing ska. It's okay to not play ska. It's fine. It's okay.
It can be your gateway into being a band, and you don't have to stay there.
Yeah, some bands
Flatliners.
shouldn't be ska.
And
It's
some bands
okay.
should have stayed ska.
And that's coming from a ska label. Some
Yes.
bands don't have to be ska.
Right. So I think I'm done. I just don't.
Okay.
I think this album sucks. It sucks so much.
I was pleasantly surprised when I listened to it. I was like expecting bad, and I was like, not bad, pretty good. 12 sucks, keeping it tight. I like a Secret Agent Man. Milk is fun. Call it a day. Woo!
I can't believe you aren't angrier about Valentine's Day. That's just like a Cherry Pop and Daddy's ripoff.
So, okay, I will say something. This was in a note. I'm just not looking at my notes. Okay, dudes in bands in general, especially ska, can just be like, and they can barely sing, and it's just because they're like vibes. And then any fucking woman who sings one goddamn note on a song is like an incredible angel vocalist. So like for you to like be able to sing on a track as a woman versus like a man is like from what I've heard is like a completely different scale. It's like you have to be like a fucking like music education specialist, but then if you're a dude, it's just vibes.
I mean, yeah, that's true, but I'm talking about like the songwriting itself. Like that
It's
just
not good, but I kind of enjoyed it. She had a really beautiful voice.
Yeah, I mean,
I love this.
that sounded fine, but it sounded like it was track 5 on Zoot Suit Riot.
I love Zoot Suit Riot. It's like one of my favorite.
You
songs.
hated them.
No,
we
I
did the,
like Cherry
we
Pop
did
and
the Cherry
Daddies.
Pop and Daddies on a trombonist, and we
Trombonist.
decided they're good.
Yeah, I like them.
I
Go
thought
back
I
to-
remembered at least Celine roasting them.
A couple
Well,
times.
yeah, I always say I'm a cherry picking daddy. I mean, they're like, I feel like,
But we still talk
name-
about how
the
their songs
name
are,
is bad.
the name is bad, but we say that their songs are just about punching some dude.
They
in the
have
face.
Billy energy. They were like
Oh.
integral in my Billy adolescence. That's
Oh.
was one of my first karaoke songs.
Well,
Go look home through your cold
strike that one from the
pocket.
record. Then I'm the only one that hates them.
No, that's not true.
You're a
That's
cherry. You're a picky cherry daddy.
We understand that people hate them.
Yeah.
I mean, in this
Uh,
situation, I'm getting roasted for this right now. It's hot over here.
All right, let's take a break, and when we get back, we'll keep this train going.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Oh, hey, oh, what the fuck you do with your life these days? Oh, hey, oh, what the fuck you do with yourself?
Welcome back to Checkered Past. We have Chris from Ska Punk International here, and we're talking RX Bandits. So we just finished talking about those damn bandits, and I just thought I would say what Matt now says about that album when asked how he felt about it. He said, "You know what? Part of that album I'm proud of. There's some good 3-part harmonies and shit. And I was 15, you know, right on." So that's his current
What-
opinion.
When did he say that?
Like within the last 3 years.
Oh yeah, that's
No.
fair.
They grabbed him and green room somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is not like ashamed of the stuff.
No,
Like-
if they were, they would have just ditched it, right?
Right.
They would
Yeah,
just
yeah.
hide it under a rug.
Right.
But they're letting everybody listen to it. So good on them.
Yeah, much respect.
So, but thanks to glowing reviews, their high-intensity live shows, and the general feeding frenzy of ska, the band would sign to, get this, Drive-Thru Records.
Yeah.
And this is a segment I'm now calling Label She's the Bomb.
Label She's the Bomb. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Ah, that's good.
Like
Tell
Mabel.
me what-
Like Goldfinger's Mabel.
The Goldfinger song Mabel.
I don't know anything about Goldfinger.
Label She's the Bomb.
Good.
Because
What a world I wish I lived in.
Yeah.
our
What's his name? What's the
our
guy?
frenemy.
Yeah.
our
we
frenemy,
always talk
Feldy.
about him.
Yeah, Feldy, our frenemy.
Feldy.
Yeah, we have mixed opinions. He gets brought up so much on this fucking podcast.
Anyways.
So we all know Drive-Thru. Well, I guess we know. If you don't know Drive-Thru, they were an emo powerhouse in the early aughts, but it actually just started out as an indie label in 1996 by siblings Richard and Stephanie Reynes in Sherman Oaks, California. Their first signs were River Phoenix.
Mm.
We
Phoenix
would change their name. Phoenix TX, yeah. Alistair and Rx Bandits. I think Rx Bandits were like their fifth
Were they
release.
did people call them the Pharmaceutical Bandits? Or
That's
Yeah.
no, that was their first. That was their full name. Was
they
Pharmaceutical.
went by Pharmaceutical Bandits.
We'll
Yeah.
we'll
That
cover
was
that.
like a funny bit, like for the album.
Correct.
That's crazy.
We'll
That
talk
does
more
not
about
have
that.
a ring to it at all. Anyways,
Part of the problem.
I didn't
Yeah.
know.
But at this point, Drive-Thru was mostly just interested in pop punk adjacent bands, which at this time would have been decent enough. However, things really started to heating up when the label would sign. This is a mouthful. Newfound Glory, Dashboard Confessional, The Starting Line, Something Corporate, Homegrown, Census Fail. You get the picture. The label would get the benefit of distribution from MCA Universal, which allowed many of their releases in the early aughts to hit gold and or platinum. Geffen would buy out this contract in 2003 under the condition it could sign any of the bands to the majors, which cleaned Drive-Thru out. So like Newfound Glory went up to Geffen and a bunch of others. Sanctuary stepped in to assist instead and would get a new batch of releases by the early November, Halifax, and most importantly, Hello Goodbye, which would get the label another platinum release. The label would fold in 2008 as the siblings shifted to management, essentially leaving on top. Something like 80 releases. And after going through it, at least 60 of them I have heard of because they were all massive releases by technically an indie band with like a major label distribution, right? Like they would have been like in competition with like Fat, like where Fat is like an indie label with a major distribution.
Mhm.
And they probably were kicking their ass up and down the street in the early aughts. Like Fat would have gotten their butts kicked out of the 90s. Drive-Thru stepped in. Like these, like Newfound Glory, like all those bands, there's like Something Corporate. Those all had like huge, like radio hits, and they had a ska band on there for a long ass time. Like it's pretty wild. So anyway, back to the Bandits. With a full-fledged, albeit rookie label behind their back, they reissued their debut in 1998, but very quickly hit the studio for their sophomore release. Possibly due to their label mates or some of the changing tides, but the band began digging more into their pop-punk, emo, and even sublime influences to create a different sound. The horn section switched out with Noah staying on sax and collaborator Rich Bailing full-time on the trombone. Matt would also take over lyrics and vocal duties full-time, zeroing in on some of his favorite topics, such as introspection, politics, and still to some degree, girls. This follow-up album would be titled Halfway Between Here and There, would cause a storm in spite of its 98 release, nearing the tail end of Ska's heyday, netting the band tour slots with Goldfinger, Real Big Fish, and the Bloodhound Gang. And then also headlining tours with their other Drive-Thru signees. The album would also have features like Rich from the Hippos and Linus of Hollywood on some guest vocals. With the name being too challenging and the heat building, the band changed their name to the far easier Rx Bandits and reissued the album with 2 more tracks in 1999. Let's talk about it. Halfway between here and there. Let's start with 10 Seconds Never Seemed So Long.
Wow. Weird choice to start with.
It's one of my all-time favorite RX Bandit songs.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
your
rough.
choice is always wild.
I find this to be probably the worst song on this record.
Your
And-
choices are always
oh.
wild.
Well, nobody's ever suggesting songs, so I pick what I
know,
like.
You get to,
I
you
get
get
to
to.
choose.
You get
Thought
to.
for sure you're gonna choose What If.
If you're right.
Oh, I don't love What If.
My right to
What
shit
If
up
is-
on it.
But
Incredible and shows the direction they're going. It sounds like a whole different band.
I will get into this album, but
I like What If too.
Like, listen to this. This is just like a Damn Bandits leftover, but sounds better.
yeah, that's why I like it.
They do so much new, like, so much evolution, and you pick the same shit. Ah.
I will say though, when I had this on in the kitchen while I was doing dishes, like this whole album, I was singing along to every fucking song. Every song. Like, halfway. Man, this is really, and it might be nostalgia, because I really listened to
maybe
this,
that is
this
what,
album
I
a
think
lot.
that is my coloring.
Yeah,
on
like,
these two is just having heard them a lot back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is the one I listened to a lot, and I saw them maybe 3 times during this era. Twice they came with the Hippos here.
That's fun.
And those shows were awesome. Like, I remember 10 Seconds live. I remember it was fun. I remember dancing and going crazy to that. I stage dove during that song, but that doesn't mean I don't view it also as like basic ass shit from the last record. Like, it sounds like they wrote it before, but Matt's vocals sound better and they just recorded it better.
And this is it's because there was such a short turnaround time between the two records. Half of these songs are leftovers, or like, you know, songs they were touring, and then the other half were like brand new.
Yeah.
So halfway between here and there is a very apt name, because it literally is half songs that were like old throwaways, maybe to some degree, but then the other half are kind of a little bit more, newer, forward thinking.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different sounds on here, but maybe that's why that song is the one I wanted to start with, because I like to show where they were before we talk about where they were going.
Nice save.
I just thought of it just now. I didn't think.
Exactly. Yeah. I just feel there's a reason that I have maybe 4 songs from this record like saved that I listen to, but the rest I don't listen to.
What are those
anymore.
4? Let's
Yeah,
hear
what
it.
are your 4?
I actually think there might be 3, but it would be
Okay.
What
So you're
If
a liar.
What if Andrea Lost?
Let's play Andrea.
I think that's it. I don't think
Andrea
another one. Andrea
is
rules.
also one of my favorite songs on this record by it. This and Cornered. This song is kind of like implying some of their more like progressive leanings, where like they aren't using the same like verse chorus, kind of mixing up the tempo changes, and like it's not like just a straight skank the whole way.
Yeah, the way
Kind
the upstrokes work with like the like flicks and the like all types of like interesting ways those are played is like a masterclass in like how to be interesting with playing ska.
It's far gone, but what did you call me? A straight skank?
No, it was worth bringing back.
Yeah, that was worth it for sure.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this song's pretty catchy. I didn't like this album as much as the last one.
Oh
I
boy.
didn't. I like that the other one was more punky
know what?
and rough.
It was more punky and rough. This is
Yeah.
getting a little bit more into their.
Now I'm just like,
cleaner-
okay, now we're just back into. I hate clean third wave. I hate clean, well-produced third wave.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
think this one is borderline too like well produced.
Yeah.
It's very close, but
And that's,
you know,
for me.
That's funny, and they still self-produced this one. This one wasn't
Oh, they
produced
did?
by like
yeah.
yeah.
That's why I think it's fine, but a little more polish would have been too much.
I didn't like this one as much, but I didn't hate it. I liked it more
it's
than
short-
the next
it's short.
one.
It had 11 songs on it.
Yes, I
So it's very
loved the
short.
length.
The
length was
runtime
great.
is longer though, but that's because they have that huge
There's
break
a
at the
huge
end.
gap
Yeah.
in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah,
What was the
And
bonus track? I
Nugget,
can't
they have a
even
couple.
remember.
Nugget goes on for a long time.
Nuggets on Progress.
it's just
Yeah.
like this, like
Oh.
Yeah.
it's like this acoustic
Yeah.
thing
Oh, right, where it's like just him playing guitar and he like overdubs it a couple times.
Yeah, but it sounds kind of like a preview of like later shit, like super dubby. Like on this one, the Sublime stuff is super obvious. Like some of the stuff is like, okay, you're ripping off Sublime. Like stop trying to be Brad. But I think Andrea is the one where it's like, okay, you heard the fast Sublime stuff, but you improved it.
Right.
And I think that's pretty cool. I think that's awesome. And I think the when it gets heavy, the bridge and stuff, I think that's really cool. I don't know. I remember that song just going off live. I just like lost my mind to that song. That song rules. I think that song's awesome.
It's one of the things that they do well that they were experimenting here, which is to build the song, right? Instead of it just being like a feeling for the whole thing, like just 3 minutes of just this, it's more like it starts kind of quiet. And that's maybe that progressive rock influence that really comes out way later, but where it like they start at one like tempo and one feeling, but then escalate it to like a climax at the end.
Yeah.
Like Andrea ends with like a really big hook at the end too.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful song.
It's catchy.
Yeah. I also love
pretty
Metal
catchy.
Man.
Metal
I,
Man.
Oh
isn't
no.
yeah. I love it.
That song is so stupid.
That's why I like it.
The
And it's not about
dumb.
girls. It's dumb and it's not about girls.
It's
That's
dumb and
true.
not about girls.
That's true. Points for it not being about girls, but the whoa part is fun. I remember that being a fun live
We love a
thing.
whoa.
Like the whole crowd yelling whoa and blah blah. Like that was fun, but I don't know. It's pretty stupid, and it ultimately is a Sublime ripoff. Like that could easily just be in the middle of 40 Ounce of Freedom. So
we should play the biggest Sublime ripoff though.
Yeah,
Gun in your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could almost hear
People still like this song.
You could almost hear
This
in
is
the
like-
vocals
yeah.
on certain times where they try to go kind of dubby that like he's fighting against a fake and Jamaican. Like
Yeah.
you know what I
Well,
mean? Like
this-
you could almost hear it.
This one he does not fight it. This one is full on fake Jamaican.
I feel like he's trying to hold back, but it like he can't help himself.
This
That's what
this
it
one
sounds
and
like.
Walk Away, he like couldn't help it.
Yeah, it's like he's just like, oh, it's gonna come out.
And
Yeah.
there was a rap in one of the songs on here, if I recall. Yeah, I don't remember.
I think
liking
this
that
one has it.
Yeah. But this is okay. He will
What?
do versions of this type of song later that are better. This
Yeah.
is yeah.
So sublime. It just sounds like,
Like
a sublime.
I
song,
don't
yeah.
listen to I skip this song for
Yeah,
sure.
well, for
But
sure.
it's not like upsetting. It's just like, okay, this is a Sublime song.
Yeah.
And it's probably the first attempt at being like political, but I would also say it's a little ham-fisted. He's got a little bit more of a
Yeah.
light touch later on, whereas this is like a little
Mhm.
I don't
guess
necessarily
it-
agree with
based-
the light touch based on the albums we're listening to.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty obvious when you're just like, there was a war in Rwanda and it was bad.
oh yeah, you're talking about progress
Well,
again.
Yeah, but I think he's talking about like later.
Later.
They're more. That's what I'm saying. Is like
Yeah.
they became more subtle.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
The albums we're listening
Like
to on
Overcome.
this round.
And
Yeah.
some of those types of songs he does a better job of it.
Yes,
But-
their political songs later on in their career are better than these ones.
It's all they do at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
At some
Yeah.
point they flip the switch completely,
And they're
they
saying new
stop doing
things
it.
instead of just like, "Hey, we just found out about this war and it's bad. Did you guys know?" You know how there's
Right.
several movies and books on this that make a better point.
I mean, it was 2001, but
I guess. I guess.
yeah, I had a wonderful time listening to this album.
I had a
Just
fine
a
time.
wonderful time.
I had a fine
I was
time.
happy, big ass smile on my face. I was like, can't wait to tell my friend Chris about my favorite record.
I was having a
Can we-
great time listening to What If, and then I was like, can we just get to the songs I like, please, Jesus Christ? What's Wrong? It sucks. You probably love it. Cornered also sucks. You probably like it. Now or
Oh, I do
never.
like Cornered.
Cornered, I like.
Cornered's
Cornered
a good
was
song.
like probably one of the best standouts for me. I like Cornered a lot.
Like you have What If, and then you have like 4 clear leftovers, and it's just bad until you get to Lost, and then Andrea, and then the rest I could skip. It's I
and a
don't know.
pointless bonus track at the end that we didn't need.
Yeah,
Again,
no,
another one.
I think the coolest thing that exists on this record is in What If, after the first chorus, the audio pans back and forth between the two as it fades out, like the kind of like delay effect. And it's like they wanted to like pepper it in and see if anyone would say anything so they could like test the waters. Like it was the most clear example of foreshadowing.
I love it. Any last minute thoughts, Celine?
I don't know. It was like, it was my, I don't know. It was fine. It wasn't as, I didn't quite enjoy it as the first one, but there was a couple standouts. And...
I'm loving how much you love those damn bandits. I'm loving it. I'm not going to lie.
I am not. It feels like I'm taking crazy pills.
I am microdosing. I am
but you listened to it before.
Well.
All right, let's get back in the time, Ska'd. Here's what Rich said about the name change. Dude, it started out as Pharmaceutical Bandits. It was like a childhood inside thing amongst the friends who started the band. It kind of developed into Rx Bandits, RX being short for pharmaceutical, because pharmaceutical was too long for flyers. Nobody really knew how to pronounce it or write it, so we just took to RX. We like it better.
It sounds so much better.
It does. The tumult of the changing musical landscape caused some lineup changes at the dawn of the millennium, with bassist Franz and saxist Noah both leaving, and James Salomon from My Superhero stepping in on bass fiddle. Their time spent on the road and on stage with drive-thru acts had a definite impact on RX Bandit sounding, further expanding them into emo and pop-punk territory. The resulting album was 2001's Progress, formerly Artificial Intelligence and the Fall of Technology. Also issued on drive-thru, featuring the straight-ahead pop-punk single Analog Boy. Many past collaborators returned to the studio to provide additional horns, as well as Rich of the Hippos back, but on keys this time. And lyrically, the band would all but eschew its romantic lyrical content, focusing largely on socio-political affair that would heavily imply the band's future direction. I'm just going to finish up some points on this before we talk about the album. But here's another thing Rich said about this. We finally got our money for the studio and had a decent budget. We went in for a significant length of time, first time with a producer. We had 2 years to write songs and weed out the bad ones, and it shows like a really mature sound. We finally found our direction. We've just never had the opportunity to go into the studio with money for a good length of time, record good songs. It's just always been leftover songs from the high school days. So the lineup problems would not stop, and immediately after release, the new bassist would depart, eventually being replaced by Joe Troy, Matt Embry's school chum, and Link 80 saxophone. Steve Broth would fill the vacant spot left by Noah. But most importantly, when the band hadn't realized it yet, they would bring in former Chinky's keyboard player Steve Choi, would make a big impact on the group's future, which was
Just
the
sounds
to be
bad when
continued.
you say it.
Yeah.
I think
Every
it sounds
time I have
awful.
to say it.
Also, didn't I think I heard, maybe one of them told me, I don't know. I think I heard that Choi actually played on the demos of this record but couldn't record.
Correct. So,
Oh.
and I also heard an account that potentially he ghost played the keys on it as well, and just gave credit to
Rich.
To Rich, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a couple different accounts out there as to who was the keyboard player, but Steve was almost in the band at this point, but he wasn't writing songs.
Right.
That would come later.
He was
And-
around.
Yeah, he was
though.
around. And
He's
so
around.
that's kind of where our delineation point is: the pre-Choi years and the post-Choi years.
For sure.
PC and PC.
That's right. So why don't we start Progress by listening to the single, the thing that was everywhere, Analog Boy.
I think this is the worst song on the record, but I still like
This
it.
is the
Yeah,
this is the
bored.
worst
I don't like
song RX Bandits have ever.
This is bad.
Wrote.
Was this a single? Was this like a
I can't believe
Yes.
you feel that way, considering how much you like some of the other stuff that sounds this way.
Yeah.
I can't believe you feel that way when you've already made it known that you have bad taste.
So then you can believe that I would say that. My ska taste is apparently bad. It seems that way. I've been told.
No, it's specific to you.
It's true. I know what I like.
You know what you like.
I know what I like.
And that's fine.
The only thing I like is how aggressively long this intro is, and this was
I don't.
pitched as a single. That's so
kills me.
funny.
I'd switch radio
This-
stations.
This sounds like it would be on the radio. And Drive-Thru didn't really push this as a big single, and they didn't really try to get it out there that much, but
He definitely changed up his vocals on this a lot, I feel like. I feel like it was more like melodic. There's like more vibrato. It's more singy.
So all that screams and that's like so of the time. It feels super dated.
I mean, yeah, but they also did it on the record before that.
Yeah. And
Not on the
to
ones you
this
played.
degree.
Not to this extent.
Not to this extent. There wasn't
Way
as
more
much like
screams,
screamies.
way more like emo 2000s
and like the chugga
screams.
chuggas and the
But
pogo
Which I have
guitar.
I have a soft spot for
Yeah.
that sound.
I feel like though we'll get to that, but like some of the songs specifically are like using that in a way that's extremely influential on the stuff now. That even sounds like the type of shit that like I'm gonna put out or like get sent to me to put out or I have put out. I don't know. I don't know how much I should like say in terms of maybe you're gonna play some of those songs, but
Sure. What is there any that? Yeah, no, go for it because I'll just pepper songs in.
well, Consequential Apathy I think is like the most influential song that nobody talks about. I think the way that song ends, the like the heavier like screamy stuff, like that might as well be like every ska-core band happening now. Like that directly influenced Fatter Than Albert, Flaming Tsunamis, Power Up, Hans Gruber, like every one of those bands that we talk about now, that's that song. And that's where like some of the other ones, like the way they're doing like the stuff, that sounds like the screamy stuff, that sounds of the time, but that one sounds like something from the future.
I don't mind Consequential Apathy. Like I feel like with this album, and I listened to it and I was really serious because I remember I would go back and forth on whether I like it or didn't like it. And I think what I ended up deciding is that the songs I like, I really like. The songs I don't like, I really don't like.
Yeah, there's a couple good songs for me. It's like, I don't know, it's their bridge album between their old sound and their new sound. And
100%.
And I don't feel like it's quite developed either way.
Yeah,
so
I
I
agree
feel
with
like it's just kind of a lot of the songs feel like disconnected to me and are like
Super
almost there,
disconnected,
but
yeah.
they're like holding back on the new sound they're going into. Because I like middle Rx Bandits sound a lot. Like a lot. That's my favorite is middle, and I surprised myself by liking the early stuff, but this album lost me a little, even though I did like a couple songs. And I do like their sound that they move into. So it's not that I don't like their emo-y direction. Because I like when they go harder into it, but it's like they just didn't go enough into it on this.
Yeah, I think that like I have distinct memories of the first time hearing this and feeling like, what is happening? Like it was like one of the craziest things I felt like I'd heard, but then it like completely loses steams like 4 to 5 tracks in and starts to fall back into the stuff from like halfway in a lot of ways.
The back half is, well, and then it's starting to show their jammier tendencies, but like they ended up doing more jam band stuff live than on track, and I think like they had to figure out like how long is the right length for a song. But you talk about All Rwanda's Glory. I don't like that song.
I just didn't think it was a good song.
It's pretty rough track. Yeah,
like I think the rhythm is interesting, but it's not ideal. Like there's a couple good songs like later, like Progress is a good song, but the momentum of the record, like that intro,
it loses. It loses a lot of momentum.
The intro into VCG3 and then into Consequential Apathy, it's like, this is going to be the best album I've ever heard in my life. And then by the time you get through Analog Boy and you're like, maybe it's fine.
What about That's Gossip? Babble On, Babble for Your Life. Babble On.
We should listen to that. I got that.
The less good.
Again, another like gun in your hand, adjacent, sublimey. But this is a little bit more on the dubby side, which this becomes more like what they start to kind of like play around with on the next couple records.
Yeah, I mean, like they really never stop doing stuff like this, but then they throw in all the crazy like mathy like heavy stuff, and they only do this for like 8 bars or whatever.
Right.
Instead of a whole
it's not like an 11/7 time signature or something. Yeah. And so what I think is the difference between this record and the next one isn't that they are more into emo and pop punk. I think they're more into like post-hardcore. Yeah, I think getting rid of their radio sort ofness is what I like about the next record. Is that they stop caring about whether or not they're going to get play, right?
Well, I mean, there's a really like clean explanation for that, and that's At the Drive-In. At
Right.
the Drive-In changed everything for them and bands in their circle. Like,
Oh, it's true.
I should probably tell this circle when the song's over, but
Oh, it's okay.
I know from talking to them how much of an influence and how like mind-blowing At the Drive-In was to all of them. Like, this was 01, right? And
So
then,
sorry, yeah, 01, 2001, yeah.
yeah, and then Resignation after that, when Choi like really helped write. The summer of 2001 is when my terrible band went on tour with Link 80, and Steve Borth was still in the band, and Choi was the tour manager of that. And every day they were listening to At the Drive-In in their van. All the riffs of the stuff they were all playing was like very post-hardcore like stuff. You can hear that in the Link 80 songs like Letters to Celeste and stuff that didn't end up on records, but like sat on a few comps and just kind of exist in the internet ether because they stopped playing. But like Steve Choi was talking about it all the time. He would like sound check all their stuff, and he was like playing that type of shit on the guitar just as like the sound check. And then you hear Resignation, like, okay, well, this is obvious. Like, that's a direct line. Like, that's how that happened. So that's it.
And I think it's for the best, but I also like, and I don't like to always put myself in this position where I say, well, you have to be at the time to understand what they were going for. But like, when I think about 2001, they're a ska band, still a ska band, I'd say at this point,
Yeah.
still pretty like you would classify them as that,
Yeah.
on an emo label, doing kind of an emo pop punk ska combo. Who else was doing that right at this time? The Impossibles.
Yeah, but even like
basically it, right?
even like 2001, they weren't really even like playing that much. I think they
Yeah.
might have even broken up already.
by then, because Anthology is like ends at I think 99 or 2000, so they probably
Yeah.
were broken up, right?
Yeah, I saw them 2000 and I think 99 actually. And I think they had their like reunion show in Austin, maybe 01 or 02. I don't know. Yeah, I think they were done. Anyway, that's the
Yeah.
point, is that there weren't
Yeah.
very many. And like on their label, the closest thing to them was Homegrown, which is not even close.
Right, and I don't even think the ska album that Homegrown did was on Drive Through. I think by the time
I
they
think you're right.
signed, I think by the time they signed, they had completely gone the other direction.
Or the Actor Age was Drive Through, wasn't it?
I'd have to look that up. I couldn't remember if that was or not wasn't. But
It has like a ska
Either way,
song,
that's,
but like that's not
like,
even close.
barely. They did like 3 ska songs on one record, and
right.
they're not even operating in the same place Rx
Yeah,
Bandits
but the
are.
one that had like Surfer Girl, which is terrible, was definitely not Drive Through.
Yeah, that doesn't hold.
Yeah.
I re-listened to it recently. Then there's anyway, it doesn't matter. Homegrown's first record is not that great. But let's listen to one more song off of Progress. I Have All the Time.
Nouget? Oh no.
All the time. You didn't even pick all the good
All the
ones.
Oh, no, I just picked some songs that I liked. Well, I picked Analog Boy because it's the single. I always pick the single.
I mean, all the time is fine, but like, who would have thought Progress, Consequential Apathy? Those are the
Who would have thought it's a good song? I
Top
really like
tier.
that song.
Yeah.
I like this song because it changes. Like every verse, it does something different. I thought that was fun.
I agree.
Yeah, the chorus changes twice. Like, yeah, it's decently like this is a decently progressive album. Doesn't always work because there's still too much ska probably, which is weird to say. And there's probably too much like trying to get on the radio.
Well, I mean, like,
But, yeah,
I guess that's my point in like how like modern some of it is that the way a lot of bands now are treating their ska is how they treated ska on this record.
right.
And that didn't happen back then. It was like
Right.
you had to sound third wave, or you just
Or not at all.
or like traditional. And so it is very like, I think Progress is a good name, but when you look at their overall catalog, it's pretty obvious that they're like in this massive middle point. Like when you've
They
heard,
seem self-aware of that, though.
I
Like
think
even
so.
calling this album Progress, I think suggests that they're self-aware.
Well, and their lineup was all fucked up at this point too.
Yeah.
This was not like
Yeah.
they weren't honed in on where they were going to go. So
yeah.
yeah, and you can also tell like seeing them. I think I only saw songs from this one time, but then seeing them after Resignation, it was like, I don't know. I said earlier, like, it sounded like What If was like a different band. It was truly like a different band when you started seeing them live during Resignation. Like, they would play some of these songs, but you could see this different like aura. It was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It just felt like I hadn't like seen that. It was like, yeah, I've talked to like I've talked to Choi, I've talked to like Matt and stuff, and like Steve Worth in the band at the time. Like, I've talked to them, but it was like, whoa, those are not the people that I've talked to.
Yeah.
Like, this is totally different. Like,
Progress came out in 01. This would have been right around the time I first was getting into ska. So this is the Rx Bandits that I first got into. But again, I like the one before this a lot more. And then Resignation came out like right when I was the most into ska I probably ever was. When I was like 16, 17, around that time. So without tipping my hat, if I was to give my rankings, Resignation is by far my absolute all-time favorite Rx Bandits record.
That's a good record.
And it's not even fucking close, honestly. As
Yeah.
much as I'm like saying how much I love Halfway, I do love that one. Those damn bandits didn't crack the code the way I was hoping it was going to.
But
Progress,
we're
really
really
just-
glossing over how much fun it is to say those damn bandits.
Those damn bandits is fun.
What a
to
good
say.
name. That's
Yeah.
fun. Those
I
And you
prefer
know
the-
what? Pharmaceutical Bandits is fun to say.
I prefer those damn varmints.
Yeah.
Those damn- Thank you, Joey.
Shout out co-host Joey.
No, don't shout him out.
Shout him in.
Yeah.
Call him in.
Well, why don't we play a game? This is a little something I like to call Would You Rather.
Oh boy.
Which is also an original game that we made up.
Oh my
And same
god.
with the horns are not taken from any.
Oh my god,
other
definitely not a pull on these.
So this is because Comedy Bang Bang hasn't done Would You Rather in like a decade. Like, it's been a long
I'm
time.
coming up.
Okay. Hi, Joey.
Hi.
Shh, you have to wait till the
Hey,
song's
Joey.
over. You have to wait
Yeah,
till the
still
song's
going.
over. That's a part of
Oh
it.
yeah, you're still right.
Remember?
Shush.
Shh,
The
shh.
song's going.
Yeah, the song's going.
The song is as long as an Rx Bandit song.
Stop
So
talking.
progressive.
It's all.
Hey, song's still playing.
Something.
There we go.
Yeah. So this is the comedy. I'm not going to do this every week because I will not rip off a.
And
Podcast.
directly that hard.
Don't worry, just have
It's
a
just
little-
comedy bang bang.
No,
playing
no.
it.
It's from a musical. Anyway, cut it. Just stop it. What are you doing?
How
do you want to listen to it?
I don't know.
It's like 2 minutes long.
Real
You know what?
professional
Let's just
operation over here.
Let's just listen to the episode of Comedy Bang.
Yeah.
It wasn't from Comedy Bang. It was from.
This is a game
Anyway.
I like to call Listen to Comedy Bang Bang.
So in this game, we're gonna give a series of Would You Rather. We'll see how many I do. Would You Rather scenarios, as suggested by the Discord, and you, Chris, Celine, and Joey have to choose, and we'll give points based on the quality of your choice.
Okay.
Keep in mind there
Are
are,
you the point giver?
I am the point giver.
awarder. Okay.
and keep in mind that I have all the information, so you have to ask questions so that you understand
Yeah.
the scenario and what
Okay.
is going on in it.
Okay.
Everybody understands? Okay.
Oh, I know the game.
You know the game. We all know,
I
the,
know
game.
We all know the game.
Would you rather never be allowed to trim your fingernails ever again,
Mm-hmm.
or only wear shoes 2 sizes too small for the rest of your life?
So easy. Nails done. I'll figure it out.
But you don't have all the information.
Oh.
What
Are
kind
you
of
gonna vote
shoes?
early? Are you locking in your
Okay, I'm
guess?
gonna wait. I'm gonna wait.
Chris just asked what kind of shoes.
What kind
Yeah.
of
Oh, what kind of shoes?
Yeah. Can I
Um,
choose the shoes or are the shoes shows?
No, they are knee-high platforms,
Oh.
and they're 2 sizes too small.
I can't trim, but can I shape my nails?
No, they have to grow to those like Guinness,
Like the curly nails?
Yeah,
Gotta be curly nails. Eh?
I have had really long dumb nails before, and it is really hard at first, but you do figure it out. And then I don't know if you've seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, but there is a universe with hot dog fingers, and they make it work. And like the point is, like when there's
They
a
make it
universe with hot dog fingers, the positive outlook is you get really good with your feet. So
Yeah, you play the
you'll
piano
get
with
really
your
good with
feet.
your
They didn't have hot dog feet, too?
No,
Hot dog toes?
just the fingers.
Just-
No, they're able to play the piano with their feet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just-
cool. Sounds like a good movie.
But the answer
Um,
is
easy nails for me.
they have to. Okay, Celine, are you locking in?
I'm
your vote,
locking
Okay,
in.
Celine is locking in at nails.
I know. I
There are
also know what it's
lots
like
of
to wear shoes
information.
that
As
hurt, and
in-
it's not worth it.
As in, you are choosing to have the
to
nails grow.
never- Yeah, I'm gonna like and also that episode of Angry Beavers.
That's so Canadian.
That's something that you could like. You can also like with nails, like you could like get like with animals.
So,
and,
but
like,
I have all the
wolves.
information, and you're trying to shoehorn
But
your
if
own
you kind of
information.
like, you know,
yeah.
you could scrape away, you like work away at a rock.
Well, Celine,
At night.
Celine's locked in. Joey and Chris, what are you thinking? Do you have any questions?
What color are the knee highs?
Oh, that's a good question. Two-tone, black and
Okay.
white checkers,
Are they a flat platform or a heel?
heel.
How tall?
I don't know, 3 inches.
Well, 3 inches isn't like the craziest.
No,
heel.
it's not crazy. It's still.
I'm
platform.
going platforms.
Okay, Chris is locking in. With
Platforms are pretty comfy.
I'm gonna go nails as well because I too stand on concrete all day and my feet hurt in regular shoes, so I don't know about those too small. Yeah, I'm going with wild.
my
nails.
life
I'm going with wild
experience.
nails.
My
yeah.
life
It's
experience.
just interesting that none of you have asked whether or not you have terminal cancer. And in the
always
in the
forget to
nail
ask
scenario,
that.
you have terminal cancer. So unfortunately, nails is
Sick.
the wrong choice.
Right.
Sick.
So
This is the only one who
platforms,
made it out.
platforms is also the most ska choice. So
Yeah.
Chris gets 2 out of
points.
2 tones for
Two-
points.
Oh, 2 out of 2 tones.
Oh, great.
And Joey and Celine, you get negative 1,000 points.
Oh man.
Wow,
so
sick.
because of terminal
Gotta
cancer.
catch up.
Yeah,
I'm
you gotta,
crushing
you're
it right
behind.
now.
Gotta catch up.
Yeah. Would you rather every time you start to play an album, you get a random album pulled from albums ever recorded, or every time you watch a movie, it's a random movie from all movies ever made?
Oh wow.
Okay, wait.
Are-
What was the first one again?
Every time if you play an album, hit play on Spotify, it's a random album from all albums.
It's
ever
basically
made.
random music or random movies.
Basically, yeah.
Okay,
Random. Would you rather random music or random movies?
are there any excluded genres of either movie or music?
There is not. No exclusions.
If I'm listening to physical media, is it like I'm reaching into my shelf and it's like a Santa's sack scenario where I just pull out whatever's in there, or do I get to like leaf
I like the
through
way
and
you're
pick
thinking.
one
You
and-
have Felix the cat's bag.
okay, so it's
and
a magic
you,
bag.
You have to like disconnect your tail,
Mm.
like, and then reach it. Oh, you're Felix the cat in this scenario. I forgot to tell you. So in the album one, you're
Watching
Felix
movies
the cat.
and listening
No,
to-
the album you're
Okay.
Felix the cat. You reach in.
Yeah.
You can you get all Felix the cat's powers. You can tip your hat with your ears, right?
Yep.
Yeah, all that stuff. That's Felix the cat related.
So that's in the music. Did
the
you
music
just like?
scenario.
Does it just play like Felix the cat, the wonderful magical?
it's-
No, it's
cat?
random.
yeah, no, it's a random album.
I'm just hoping.
But
that
wait.
comes on.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be Felix Cat, so that's looking.
Is
good.
there any way to choose that doesn't involve the bag?
No, that's the only way to play music, and there's no streaming.
Okay,
So,
and what's
like-
the situation? Sorry, but what's the situation with the movies?
What's your question?
If I'm watching movies in physical media?
It's always VHS.
Okay. And how is that selection scenario working out if I'm Felix with the bag in the music scenario?
Right. You have Felix the cat's bag, but you're Popeye.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And you have all Popeye's powers. You get strong when you eat spinach. Slin's olive oil.
Oh, Popeye!
Does that
you
mean that?
play Ludo whenever you have to like wash windows or whatever.
Yeah.
So that means Mrs. SPI becomes Celine?
No,
If I
Mrs.
choose
SPI
this-
becomes olive oil.
Oh, okay,
You're like,
okay.
I'm not choosing that. That's my automatic no.
Well, I was like, does that mean?
What a horrible hell has happened to my life.
Uh,
Does,
Okay.
does Felix the cat have terminal cancer?
No, he does not.
I
a good
well, I
question.
know how to lock in
Okay,
my choice.
I have a further in the weeds question.
Yes,
What
that's important.
happens to all my existing physical media? Either like
Hmm.
my Blu-rays, my shelf that's got records, all my inventory of records. What happens to those since all the music would go into the back?
Your Blu-rays would all be Salo or 120 Days of Sodom, but the good news is that you don't
That's
have
the
a
same
Blu-ray
movie.
player anymore.
Right. Only
And then
VHS.
all your physical records become spoken word records by let's say me.
Okay,
Oof.
are people still allowed to order stuff? And can they choose even though I
Yes,
can't?
but it goes in their bag, and then they still have to pull random bags out.
Do I have to eat poop in that scenario?
Oh, actually, you're saying if people order it from you, what happens to their record?
Yeah.
It becomes my spoken word record again.
Okay, so I would list different records, but inevitably they're still going to get spoken word.
Yeah, but that's also because in this scenario, you're kind of a shitty label owner, and you're just
Yeah.
tricking people into. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
In this
understand.
scenario.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Okay, great.
Yeah,
I
you-
know what
you've
I
turned
want to do.
evil. Okay, I like it. These are good questions. Celine, you got any more questions?
Just
You're-
in the movie one, are you forced to eat mailed?
No, you get to a random movie every time you watch it.
Manja.
It's just your physical Blu-ray collection becomes Salo.
VHS
Oh,
collection.
I don't ever want to watch.
Right, no, you can only watch it.
I don't
You can
ever
only
want to
watch
watch
VHSs.
Sallow again.
Just-
I'm pretty good on watching it one time.
Does that mean that the movies available are only okay? Could it be a modern movie that was not put on VHS?
Yes.
Okay, great. I know what I want to do.
As I am Popeye in the movie scenario, do I have to squeeze the VHS cassette, shooting the tape into the air, and then eat it to
No.
consume the movie?
And then no, you have to wind up your arm like in circles, and then punch it into the VHS.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't die, Chris.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, I'm
Okay, I'm gonna
locked
watch a movie.
Oh, and always the spinach shoots up and then
Yeah,
goes into your mouth. Yeah.
That's what I meant.
All
Are you
right.
Robin Williams Popeye or
No, you are
cartoon
the old
Popeye?
Fleischer Popeye.
Oh, and
also
is
you don't-
Felix the like original Felix or the '90s reboot? Felix?
No, the original 30s
Okay.
Felix. That's why you can.
Mm,
That's why
I
you
am
can
a
doff your
90s
ears.
reboot
Right.
Felix.
It was
gal.
good. Yeah, '90s.
I
reboot
rented
Felix
that
was good.
movie over
Yeah.
and over and over and over and
Mm.
over.
Okay, so what are we locking in as? I think this is enough time. I've
Yeah,
given you enough
I
time
got
to
it.
formulate your votes.
I got it.
Chris, what's your vote?
VHS. Zero
Okay.
doubts. I'm going
So,
VHS.
So
I
Chris
need to
is
be able
Popeye.
to choose music. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm Popeye.
Having the powers of Felix the Cat is like I have to go with that.
Felix
one.
is very powerful.
I'm
It's very
going
powerful.
music. I'm going music because I don't
Yeah.
want to watch 120 Days of Sodom ever
No,
again.
see, it's a random VHS.
But
I don't want to be
your
reminded of it every
Blu-ray
day.
collection.
I
turns
don't
into-
think I have a Blu-ray.
We don't have any Blu-rays.
Yeah.
So you're fine.
So, yeah.
So
So
I'm
that doesn't
fine.
impact you.
Okay, so then movies. I'll go movies.
Okay, so you're Popeye.
'Cause I don't have any. I'm Popeye. Well, I'm olive oil. You said in this.
Only
universe.
if he's Popeye. If you're Popeye,
Popeye
he's
the
I'm
olive
olive
oil.
oil.
Yeah.
Is he?
Oh.
Is he olive oil? He's not the liquid. He's not the liquid oil.
No, he is olive oil, the character, and
He-
you also have Sweet Pea.
In
Ginger
your
becomes Sweet
scenario, he would be olive oil.
Pea. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
also
you
nice.
asked if Felix has cancer. No, but Popeye has terminal cancer.
class.
Damn.
Fucking dodged it
So-
this time.
So Chris loses
me.
1 point.
Only one.
Yeah.
I would much rather be able to choose the music I want on the way out than
The rigatry
stay
of it
forever.
all.
Yeah.
Rigatry.
And you gain 1 point.
I
Yeah.
okay. Got it. And so
all
then
that work
it's
for a
flat.
1
And so
point
it's
swing.
flat, yeah.
Ooh.
flat zero.
Flat
Okay.
0.
I'll take a 0.
Yeah. So who's winning right now?
Chris.
Chris,
Oh, Chris
I
is
believe
still-
he's at
still in
1
the
point.
Pretty
win.
obviously.
Versus Joey and Celine's
My
minus
minus
1,000.
900.
Well, 999.
And
Celine's minus 1,000.
1,000.
Okay. So the last would you rather I have is, oh, look at this. It's the time that I suggested a would you rather on Comedy Bang Bang in 2011. Would you rather skank instead of walk or Cabbage Patch whenever you talk to someone wealthier than you?
That's like an easy one for me, I think. But I guess
You
I
don't
gotta
have
ask
all the
the
I'd be
questions.
cabbage patching all the time. That
Okay,
sounds
okay.
exhausting.
Okay, I have many questions.
Mhm. You
the,
should.
Yeah.
the
You
first one,
understand?
the first one I need to know: is wealth counted for your partner?
No, and it's net worth.
Great.
Yeah, that'd be exhausting,
You're gonna
Joey.
do a lot.
Yeah,
I would
that's
be
what I'm
doing a lot of
saying.
cabbage patching.
Like I am broke, so I would be
Yeah.
cabbage patching
No, we're
all
not.
the time, talking to Mrs. SBI.
So would Joey.
Okay, okay. That's a relief. Okay,
I got as you're skanking
Mhm.
instead of walking.
Yeah.
Am I wearing traditional skanking shoes like a checkerboard slip-on? Or
No, you're
is it
wearing those big platforms from the first
from
scenario.
the first
Yeah.
scenario. That makes
Yeah.
it very different.
What about
What-
at work if I'm doing hair and my client is wealthier than me? Do I have to cabbage patch instead of do their hair?
No, you cabbage patch while you do their hair, so it's like,
So you just cut a little
sounds
bit when your hands get
exhausting.
close.
But then if I have a client that I'm
Okay.
wealthier than them,
but it's
oh yeah. Then your hands are steady.
steady. So
But,
I just need
yeah.
to change my clientele.
But your clientele understands your disorder,
they
and
like
so
it.
they hate it because
Oh.
when your hands are steady,
They
they know
feel
how much
bad.
they know how much money you
It
have.
seems like a bad scenario for me, Chris.
No, your net
Okay.
worth. Sorry, they know your net worth.
Yeah, I don't like
the way
that.
you just demonstrated it. Okay, so is this the cabbage patch strictly the arms, or we're doing a full body?
Yeah.
If you're sitting down, it's just your arms, but when you're standing, it's full body.
And are we talking like a Fly Girl cabbage patch, or are we talking like a Coach
Yeah.
Z cabbage patch?
Coach Z.
for sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Okay, and how aggressive is?
Also in the cabbage patch scenario, are Coach Z.
Oh,
Oh wow,
wow, that's
well, that
that's a
sweetens the
big
deal.
plus.
That
yeah.
sweetens the deal.
how aggressive
And-
is the skank?
How aggressive is it? A walking speed.
It's not so it's not like Kenny on full.
What
tilt.
about when you're driving?
Also, you're strong sad in that scenario.
If you're in a motor vehicle,
Oh.
what happens? Nothing?
Yeah,
no, because you're walking.
Just walking. What if
Yeah.
you're like,
do
okay.
Sorry, side note here.
it-
Strong Sad seems like the least ska of the Homestar
That's
characters.
not the point.
Okay, just saying.
do
If I'm
the
walking
results
dogs?
of previous choices in this game impact this?
How do you mean?
As in, as in, their random music is not actually random, but they would still have to potentially skank
Oh
or
yeah,
cabbage
yeah.
patch?
This is all carry forward.
Okay,
Yeah, all three of these are
Compounded.
yeah, it's compounding.
Okay.
Much like the interest to determine the net worth as to whether or not you're cabbage patching.
okay.
This
What
is a very
happens?
tough one.
What happens if a release of mine, because I'm allowed to release music until I die,
Which is my
Pop-
spoken word album.
pops off, and the artist and the label we get rich for like 6 months until I'm terminally gone? Do I then have to cabbage patch at that point, or because I've chosen no cabbage patch, I'm safe for good?
Yes, that's right. If you chose no cabbage patch, you do not have to cabbage patch, but you're still skanking instead of walking, which for your label is probably a good idea.
In those two small shoes.
But if I
Don't
choose
forget.
cabbage patch while I'm broke, but I become rich, I am boned, right?
Right. Wait, what? No, if you are rich, that's good because it's wealthier than you that you're cabbage patching. So if you're wealthier than you're not cabbage patching.
So it would
Yeah.
drive me. Oh, that's a very capitalist choice.
Yeah, what if you're like if you've chosen the cabbage patch scenario? If you've chosen the cabbage patch scenario, what would you I lost my train of thought.
Okay.
Yeah. There just doesn't seem like it seems like the cabbage patch situation is really complicated,
Yeah.
and the walking instead of the skank instead of walking is pretty straightforward. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna go skank instead of walk. locked
Okay,
in.
so you're locked in.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Slynn's skanking.
I'm going with the skank because I'm already stuck with those shoes anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the skanking instead of walking as well.
I'm used to dumb shoes.
Because ska.
Because ska, all right.
Because ska.
Yeah, and you didn't ask really like when you're cooking, you're flossing. When you're when you're sleeping, you're doing the ski thing.
That's what my question was gonna be. If you are
Well, it's too late. I mean, the
Okay,
floor is
yeah,
close for
the
questions.
Floor is closed. Okay, never
Floor
mind.
is closed
Bye.
for questions. Well, you all got it wrong.
Yeah,
so
obviously.
yeah, because it's too inconvenient for your life. But what you didn't ask also is the cabbage patch. You become rich off of cabbage patching.
Damn.
like
So
it.
you wouldn't have
But
to cabbage patch
That
very
Chris,
much.
that's how
But it
you get the
create-
TikTok.
Yeah.
You start cabbage patching.
Yeah.
So
There it is.
you all lose
It just
1,000
sounded
points.
like it would complicate my job too much.
So
I feel like-
Well, I mean, so it's the exact same as at the
Oh,
end.
look,
though.
Chris
So
Chris wins with
I still win.
minus 999 points.
Yeah.
I feel I made
That's
a better
awesome.
choice in that scenario because they chose against those shoes, but ultimately chose those shoes.
Yeah. That's why you won.
That-
True.
yeah, that exactly because of compounding with
fun.
the,
The
points,
results
you
speak
won.
for themselves.
Yeah, the results speak for themselves. Congratulations, you win. Would you rather?
Hey, all right.
And
Yay.
you know what? That's as good a time as any to close up this podcast. Sorry, questions.
Closing up the plug bed. Closing
No,
up,
no,
closing
we haven't done
up.
any plugging.
We haven't
yet.
even opened the plug bag.
Yeah, and that's kind of a big part of this whole thing.
Chris,
Closing
thanks for
up the
joining
plug
us.
Of course.
Plug away. What do you got to plug?
bed.
Okay, well, by the time this is out, the SPI Fest lineup will be out. So if it hasn't sold out yet, which I hope it has, if it hasn't, grab your tickets, head on down and join us in Austin, March 10th and 11th.
Not
All
just
of the people on
SPI.
this. Yeah, all the people on this will be here.
Huh?
The CPSC crew will be there. They're going to do live shows and bits. And who knows what else chaos they're going to do. And then we got a ton of bands. I don't think I should list all of them because that'll take forever, but there's a lot. Tsunami Bomb, the Toasters, a bunch of a Littlest Man Band, a bunch of SPI bands like the Grooves, and then like Joystick and FRS, Flying Raccoon Suit. Yeah, it's I'm so excited. It's going to be super sick.
Our first live show.
Yeah, that'll be our first
First
live
and
show.
last live
Also,
show.
I realized this. So the way our transport is working, we're going to fly into Houston, I believe, and then drive.
Yeah.
Which means we're gonna hit a Buc-ee's,
And
Yeah.
a
and I'm
Whataburger.
very fucking excited about
And-
hitting
and
that
a Whataburger.
Buc-ee's. And a Whataburger.
You'll hit,
But I
like-
think there has to be Chris mentioned something on social media about like a Whataburger like field trip. I think for people,
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. Sure. I'm
It'll probably
down.
be walking distance in Austin.
The thing is, everyone that's coming that like doesn't come to Texas very much or ever wants like
Never
all these
been.
things, and so I
It's
don't
been my
know. I
sec-
feel like all those types of things will happen pretty often, so we'll see. But yeah, if you haven't got your ticket yet and you're able to make it down to Austin, please come join us. The tickets themselves for 2 days, $30. Day of the show, like each individually, 25. If you want to go to just Friday or just Saturday, $20. We tried to keep it as low as possible since people have to travel to get there for the most part. So please come join us. It's going to be incredible. And then besides SPI Fest, last month, the Yours Sincerely album came out. And if you haven't listened to that yet, check it out. From the same hometown as all of these maniacs.
Edmonton. E-Town.
Yeah, E-Town. So, yeah, that's the main thing. Yours Sincerely and SPI Fest. And anything else, you can go to the SPI socials and website and grab any of that. Close up
Thanks,
the bag.
Chris.
Friendship.
Yeah, closing up the plug bag.
Closing up, closing up, closing up,
I like it.
Beautiful.
We should record that. Hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at Checkered Past Pod, or send us an email at checkerpastpod@gmail.com. Support the pod and get bonus content, including a full-length and unedited video with a lot of talk about mushrooms from this episode. Sign up for the Checkerhead Patreon at patreon.com/checkeredpast. We also have merch available at checkeredpast.ca. Buy some merch. We don't get a lot of merch orders. Buy merch. Checkered Past is edited by Arianne and engineered by Joey. And until next time, I'm Rob.
I'm Chris.
In the immortal words of the Rx Bandits, I'll drink a glass of milk over any ordinary day.
Ugh.